So far, we've shown you small towns and neighborhoods with more radiation in their water than allowed by law. However, when it comes to Houston, its drinking water is under those federal limits. City officials say that means it's safe, but we decided to take a closer look.
You cook with it, and you're supposed to drink as many as 8 glasses of it a day. Yes, it's water. The city of Houston's water.
That's not good.
And what we discovered...
Alarms start going off.
...worries these health-conscious Houstonians.
We're trying to raise family.
We found at a city park.
How long has this been? I mean, is this something just found out in the last few days, few months, few years?
This is going on for years.
That we've had radiation in our water.
Yes.
Here in the city of Houston.
Yes.
And once again, that radiation is the alpha particle. But in Houston, there's a difference. A good deal of its water comes from surface reservoirs and rivers, sources that usually don't have elevated amounts of radiation. However, the rest does come from underground, brought up by water wells just like these. So Houston's public drinking water does have some alpha radiation, but the EPA rates that amount as being under the legal limit. So no problem, right? Well, it's a little more complicated than that. Take these internal emails from the city's engineers. They're concerned that some Houston water wells tested near or above the legal limit for alpha radiation, saying Jersey Village, Spring Branch, and Southwest are areas that have alpha particle and uranium concern, and also naming neighborhoods along Bel Air Boulevard as one more area we need to watch out. And this chart showed a Chasewood water well with alpha test results at or above the federal alpha radiation limit, again and again, over a 6-year period.
What do you think of that?
No, that's not good.
Why? Because the water well or source closest to your home can provide a lot of your drinking water, making those hot wells we mentioned a possible problem for the communities around them. Yet, when we first asked the city about Houston's water radiation test results, they sent this email saying, "We have not detected any reason for concern based on the levels detected."
I need you to prove to me what you're referring to when you say there's radiation in drinking water. Where?
So we tried talking with Alvin Wright, spokesperson for Houston's Public Works Department.
Are you shooting straight with me, sir? You and I have been talking about this for
Mark,
weeks,
but
you say we didn't get far.
See, here's the deal. We've given you information, and right now, you're lying. You're lying.
What are we lying about?
You're lying about radiation in the water.
There's no radiation in the water?
What water are you talking about? What are you referring to?
You know your own readings.
So how does Houston get a passing grade from the EPA? Well, turns out that score is just an average of all the radiation test results of all the different wells and reservoirs that the city gets its water from. So some wells can score high in radioactivity, but as long as there are enough lower scoring sources, the city will be rated under the radiation limit.
We have a safe water system, and we do not provide unsafe water.
Mayor Anise Parker had previously declined doing an interview with KHOU, but we caught up with her at a routine press conference.
And you said again today that you believe the water is safe in Houston. In your opinion, how much radiation is it safe to drink?
You know, I have no idea what goes into the technical qualifications of our water system. We follow EPA guidelines. We adhere carefully to all of the federal requirements.
Which is a good thing, but there's also something else you should know. You see, the EPA recommends that cities have 0 alpha in their water, because in theory, 1 alpha particle plus 1 cell can lead to cancer. However, the agency set the legal limit higher than that. Why? Partly because of the expense of removing it, as claimed by water companies, partly because the agency estimates if your water does contain alpha at the legal limit, the risk of getting cancer from it is 1 in 10,000 if you drink it regularly. But once again, it's not so simple.
The problem with radiation is that the effects are cumulative.
EPA advisor Bill Field says, like putting pennies in a bank, the risk from alpha radiation adds up, but never goes away. And even worse, he says, it can combine with the risk you get from other types of radiation, like medical x-rays, making your personal odds of a health problem more likely than 1 in 10,000.
It's even more troubling now because we're getting more exposures from other sources.
And Dr. David Ozanoff points out, in any game of chance, somebody wins, especially if the contaminated water goes to millions of people, like in a large city.
If it's 1 in 10,000, if there are 1 million people on the water supply or 2 million people on the water supply, then somewhere around 100 to 200 people are winning that lottery.
Which brings us back to the mayor of Houston.
I would respectfully ask you one more time, what are you going to do to help get the citizens of Houston closer to meeting that EPA federally recognized health standard of 0 radiation in your water?
We are going to continue to meet every legal requirement that the federal government gives us.
But if it puts you at increased risk for cancer, shouldn't you be striving for more than just the legal requirements?
We will continue to meet every legal standard that the federal government gives us.
And what about those problem water wells we told you about earlier? Well,
Was there anybody else?
Mayor, your staff was told that they should install filters at hot spots. Mayor, why are you not interested in answering this question?
But in the end, Houston officials did shut down a number of those hot, over-the-limit water wells. Now, not every Texas city has an alpha radiation problem with its water. In fact, state tests show Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Beaumont, San Antonio, Arlington, all is having 0 alpha. Why? Well, many of the cities we spoke with say they don't use any groundwater in their system.